What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Set Point Sessions. It is me, Austin Davids, here with my older brother, Andrew. Episode number 8. We are thrilled to be back for another episode here. We are going to rock with some questions today.
Yes. I've lost track of how many episodes it is. I didn't even know what episode to count with. So
it's because I have Spotify pulled up on my phone here, and it's telling me when my last episode was. So
there you go.
It's helping me out. So yeah, we're gonna rock with some questions that were provided to us from some people, and we're just gonna kind of answer them. They could be anything, sports psych related, just some goofy, silly little questions, a little get to know you type stuff. It can just kind of vary a bunch here. So you're going to get a little bit of funny and a little bit of serious and a little bit of everything else with these questions. And I love doing this stuff. I love hearing what other people want us to talk about and then talking about it.
Same.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, it's great.
So in case you guys didn't notice, we had our family Christmas, as you can tell. My fantastic sister-in-law, the shirt, we just got a bunch of different things. This on-air light is one of my favorite things. Andrew's got a ring light. If you're watching on YouTube, we're just showing off all the goodies. Incredible.
Fantastic tonight.
It might be better than mine, which we're going to figure out. We're going to figure out, but it's okay. Did you have fun at family Christmas, Andrew? Was it a good time?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I always enjoy getting together with the whole crew, and the kids love it too. I didn't really, before you become a parent, you don't really understand, but after that, and the kids just love seeing Uncle Austin and Aunt Alexis and Grandma and Grandpa. It just makes their whole day. So it was a blast, a lot of fun.
I remember when they were like really young, not old enough to remember anything, and they were like, they'd cry and want to go home and all these things, and they said, I remember what they said the other day of, can we stay here? Like, I don't want to leave. And it's like, oh, I remember you like 3 years ago begging to go home. So
right.
The times sure do change.
Yep.
But what do you say we just jump in here? We got a bunch of questions. Let's just kind of knock it out and go from there. I'll start with the first one. The first question here is, what would you say to kids who want to try out for a new sport?
First thing I would say is go for it. Like, really go for it. Now, honestly, it does kind of depend a little bit situational. What the sport is, what the environment of the team and the coach is like a little bit. But I say go for it. And then I also say that when you go for it, you should you should go in with no expectations. And whatever happens, and you're in it to get some new experience, whether it's have fun or meet new friends or learn a new skill or whatever it could be. My first advice is go for it and just see what happens. Don't have any expectations and enjoy the process, enjoy the ride.
I think I'll add to that, be open-minded. You kind of touched on it with not having expectations. In a sense, they're kind of the same thing, but there's a lot of things to be learned when you're trying a new sport, even if it's just recreationally. If you're a 40-year-old dad and you're picking up pickleball for the first time, right? Like, have fun with it. Have an open mind and meet some new friends, learn something new, and think of how you can translate that type of stuff you're learning in that sport into maybe the sport you already play. If you're a tennis player and you're trying out for basketball, find some things in basketball that you can bring back to the tennis court, and vice versa. Some things on a tennis court you can take to the basketball court. But I completely agree with you. Go for it. Like, I remember when we had the opportunity to do cross country in high school, and Dad really encouraged us to do it. Not only because it was going to help with our conditioning for tennis and staying in shape, but just that it was a good thing to do. It's always good to be involved.
Yep.
So I second that, what you said about going for it.
Yeah. Next question. How do you motivate kids to try their best when they're just there to have fun?
That's a good one. It's kind of hard sometimes because they don't have that motivation, that determination to get better at whatever it is they're doing. They're just kind of there to hang out with friends, have fun, have something to do after school. Um, I, as a coach, like to sometimes start competitions between the teammates, so to speak. So, like, if they got a friend out there who's on the team, encourage them to, by the end of the season, be better than, your buddy Tom or whatever it is. Just go out there and set a goal for yourself. It doesn't have to be a big, lofty goal. It can be something small. I want to get better at my forehand. I want to be able to shoot a left-handed layup, whatever the case may be, and go out there and try to achieve that goal, however it looks, whatever it takes.
Yeah, maybe it's just my personality and the competitor in me, but I always think that winning is fun. And so if you're there to have fun, it's probably going to be more fun if you can win a couple tennis matches along the way. And in order to do that, you got to be, focused in practice and try hard and listen to your coaches and things like that. So I think that's part of my motivations. Not that you can't have fun if you're not winning, but I think winning is fun. And
yeah, I think that's good. I think that's nobody likes to lose. Nobody tries something new to lose. So that W on the score sheet is pretty good, pretty enticing, as they say. I'm curious about this for you because you're the varsity coach here, and we've had plenty of conversations about this topic before. What is a coach's perspective on team cuts?
I hate them. I don't like having to do it, but because of some things that are outside of my control, sometimes I have to. And for me, the big thing that's outside of my control is how many courts I have available to practice on a daily basis. I don't want, as a high school coach whose priority is to get the team better every day, I don't want to have a whole bunch of people standing in lines during practice and stuff. More time waiting than actually playing, and I don't like that. But I also have a work-life balance that I have to maintain, and I can't schedule 3 separate practices in the same day. I got to get home to my family, got to get, I have a teaching job as well, and I have things that I have to do for that outside of my contract hours too. So I don't like making cuts, but when I have a large group of players that try out for the team, sometimes I have to make cuts so that I can avoid those lines in practice, and I can, manage a practice schedule a little bit better and just, make the program as a whole better for everybody involved. And it literally hurts my heart to have to tell kids that they can't be part of our program when those situations happen. It's only happened a handful of times in the 9 years that I've been at South. And people tell me it's a good problem to have, that kids want to be a part of your program and your program's trying to grow in numbers and all of that. And I get that and I understand, and it's all cool, but it still sucks. It just, to tell somebody that they can't play tennis for me because I don't have enough courts for the team, like, that just, it really sucks. I know there's certain districts in the area that have no cut policies where they can't cut, and those coaches have to be a little bit creative with how they manage their roster and their practice schedules and things like that. But we don't have that policy in Olathe. My athletic director, we've had conversations about it, and he's got my back and always has. So unfortunately, it's a reality of our situation at South, but um, I don't like to do it, and I don't do it unless I have to. So,
I think it's a good opportunity to face adversity and come out on top, so to speak. Like we had a player this year who got cut from the team last year,
yeah,
and she came back and was a better player, and she made the team. Right? It's
that,
kind of one of those things that you choose which way you go. Are you going to go down the whole I got cut, I suck, I'm done, I'm quitting, or are you going to go down the whole road of I have an opportunity to progress my skills, and now I have a new goal to make the team next year. And that's what I'm going to
right,
aim for, and that's what I'm going to work for. You might not be top of the varsity ladder by any means, but you can still make the team if you work hard and grind it out. So I think that's like, it kind of shows me as a coach how determined you actually are to make the team. Are you
yeah,
coming out just because your friend told you to and it's something you guys can do together? Or do you actually want to be on the tennis team? You know what I'm saying?
yep,
Um, but I agree with you. I hate them. Those conversations are just tough because they're looking forward to it. Everyone's kind of fighting for that position. And when you tell
hmm
them like, hey, you didn't make it, um, it's not fun and it's not personal either. I think that's an
right,
important thing to note is um, it may feel like it with some coaches here and there, I guess, but when it comes down to our job as coaches is to put the best team on the court. Um,
right,
it's easier for you as a varsity coach because you've got a pretty clear cut 1 through 6. But even at the JV level, that's my job as a coach to put the best
mm,
team out there on the court. And so, um, making sure that I've got the people in my lineup to do that. And sometimes that just means some people don't make it. Um, yeah,
yep,
not personal, just sucks
right,
sometimes.
right.
This one, I'm asking this one to you again because I'm genuinely curious. And don't hold back either. Let it out here, man. I want to hear the truth. Don't be like, oh, this parent's listening. I can't say. How do you handle overbearing sports parents? How do you handle those parents that are just a little over the top? A lot over
Well,
the top.
it's. I was thinking about this, and I think that it kind of goes back to what Nikki was saying about her copy machine conversations last week, where
Yeah.
I should probably change my perspective to something along the lines of it's awesome that I have people so invested in my program and in my players that they want to be involved. Um, sometimes in the moment or um, when conversations are happening, whether it's between me and a player or a player and the parent or me and the parent, um, it's hard for me to remind myself of that a little bit. Um, I think that I think it's important to let the parent have their word and to let them speak and deliver their point. Um, I think it's also important to have an open mind as the coach and to listen. If it's a conversation between me and a parent. Um, but ultimately, I have the trust in my own background. I have the trust in my abilities. And I'm always going to do what I feel is right for my players and my program, whether that's lineup decisions um, or, or how I coach a player, when I coach a player, um, and so it's like I trust my gut on decisions and things like that. Um, but again, I think it's important to have the thought process and understanding that we're in a good position, that we have people that are invested in our program and want to provide their input and feel like they're a part of it as well. So
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. If we didn't have a good program or whatever the case may be, we're not going to have parents in our ears, talking to us about whatever it may be.
right.
But I agree with you. Sometimes it's hard to recognize that in the moment, or think that.
Mhm.
But I think that's part of our job as coaches, is to, like, this is one of those things that we deal with, that all coaches deal with, is
Yep.
parents. I'm not just parents, but just adults in general, right? I
Yeah.
can think of like some coaches out there that we've just had some issues with, and it's the same type of thing. It's the same type of thing. How are you going to handle it? Like, what a privilege it is for us to have people watching our tennis teams play, and having, like, just being around to have that opportunity at state, at city tournaments, whatever it is. But at the same time, like, it is tough, and it is a lot of, like, I like to put myself in that situation. If that was my kid, and that, and this situation was going
Yeah.
on, how would I handle this? And that kind of gives me a little bit of perspective into, yeah, I can see where they're coming from. I can see why they would be
Right.
upset, or I can understand some of the feelings they're having. But obviously, we
I'll-
can't control that.
Yeah. I'll never fault a parent for supporting their kid or, going to
Yeah.
bat for their kid. That's part of being a parent. And so knowing that, and knowing that that's probably their ultimate motivation, provides some understanding behind, what they say or what they do. So,
Yeah. I like what you said about listening, like letting them have their piece and say their piece, and having an open mind. Like, we're not always right as coaches. Well,
Right.
we're definitely not always right. But at the same time, we're hired for the job because our AD or our whoever it is has faith that we can run the program and call the shots.
Right.
And I think we're really lucky to have an AD who, not just you and me, but all the coaches, backs them up, is a good support system for them, and kind
Yeah.
of, gives them the power to make decisions like this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question to you, Austin. What's your advice for multi-sport athletes trying to balance school and sports?
You can do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. It takes up a lot of time that could be dedicated to homework, to, hanging out with friends, whatever it may be. You're always doing something. Whether you're a 2-sport athlete or a 3-sport athlete, you're always dedicating your time to that sport. Like I said, it's not easy, but people do it all the time. And it takes a lot of dedication and determination. You really have to commit to it. You really have to say, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to lock in, and I'm going to just grind it out. Or
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be okay with staying up late and studying for a test, even after I'm tired from practice that went 2.5 hours. You have to make decisions on a daily basis to put yourself in the best possible situation to be successful at school and sports. Not sports and school, but school and sports, because that education is one of the most important things you'll ever have the opportunity to get in your life.
Yep. Yeah. I think the two most important things for me, and to answer this question, are time management and priorities. You got to be able to manage your time, get your homework done, do your studying, prep for tests, whatever it might be school-wise, get to practice, put in the hours in the gym or in the weight room or whatever it might be. You got to be able to manage your time and do all of that. And then you have to have your priorities set and know what's most important. Like you said, education should be the most important thing for any person that's still in school, whether that's high school, college, whatever. And then the schooling comes next. You're a student athlete, right? You're not an athlete student. Now, with the whole high level Division I NIL conversation, that becomes a little bit more of a gray area. But for the amateurs or the lower level athletes that aren't making millions of dollars by playing college athletics and things like that, like, you are a student and your education comes first, and then you are the athlete. So having your priorities set is definitely an important thing to do.
I think of student athletes who also are trying to maintain having jobs.
Yeah.
And how that's
And
just
the social
another thing
life.
added in. Into social life, yeah. I mean, we didn't have much of a social life growing up. We had jobs and we had tennis, and like
Yeah.
that took up all of our time. We were traveling on the weekends. We weren't hanging out with friends. We weren't doing stuff like that. Uh,
Right.
but I know there's a lot of emphasis on like social interactions and social relationships these days. So that's one thing that I applaud um, student athletes for in today's world, is just the ability to kind of balance that stuff. It almost seems like kids go straight from practice to their friend's house to hang out, and they do homework together or whatever it is.
Right.
And that's crazy to me. I went home and sat in my bedroom and did homework. I Maybe it's my ADHD, but I would not be able to focus if I had somebody else doing homework with me. There's no way. But whatever works for you. I like the having your priorities and time management. But those are also things, like I said, that you're going to have to make choices for, right? You're going to
Sure.
have the opportunity to go catch a movie with your friends, and you're either going to have practice or you're going to have homework, and you're going to have to say, appreciate it, but I
You
got to
can't.
focus
You
on
go.
this thing.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's not a right or wrong. That's something you got to come up with on your own.
Yeah.
As a student athlete. So this one was actually presented to me by my wife. So I'm not sure she
Well,
knows the answer to this
all of
question.
all of the questions that we've already answered were presented by my wife. So take that.
Listeners, these are listener given questions, but it's more from our immediate family. uh, those are great questions by Kylie. Those are great, thought provoking. Now, the one from Alexis is not so sports psychology related, but I do really
It's
like
still a
this
good
question.
question.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you this first, and then I'll answer my part. When you were little, what did you want to be when you grow up, or when you grew up? And in your opinion, how many people actually end up in that childhood dream job?
Now, I'm going to take this as not like when I was 5 years old and wanted to be a firefighter. I'm going to take this as like when I was in middle school and decided that I wanted to be a physical therapist. So that's my definition of little, Alexis, is
I would agree.
my first thing that I thought that I wanted to be when I grew up was a physical therapist. I liked science. I liked sports and exercising and fitness, and I thought that was kind of a perfect blend of everything. Dad's an anatomy teacher, and so I had a pretty strong background on like the human body and things like that, and all of that kind of fascinated me. I even did a shadowing thing in high school on a physical therapy place, and I loved it. And I went to college, and that was my major. It was pre-physical therapy. I was going to go on to PT school after that, and then I got a C in calculus in college, and kind of derailed.
Wait. Hold on. You got a C in college?
It's one of my 2 C's on my college transcript was calculus. It was the first
No
one.
way.
And
I had no idea.
Yeah, dude. That was the catalyst for my educational career, or for my career in education. And look at me now. And who knows what would have happened if I would have gotten a B in that calc class and where I would have been at. But
I don't know what the problem with a C is. I got C's. A C would have been really, really good for me. I would have been really happy with a C in college.
the problem with a C in calculus is that to go to PT school, they looked at science and math GPA, and that was the only math class I needed, and it was 5 credit hours. And so it would have been 5 credit hours of C on my and so that wasn't going to get a cut. Anyways, I digress. How many people actually end up in that childhood dream job? I honestly say probably a small percentage. There's statistics in colleges and universities that say, over half of kids change their major from what they declare as freshmen coming in. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't think that most people end up in a job they don't like or in a miserable job. I just think that perspective changes, situations change, preferences change. What you decide that you like, middle school, early high school is probably not going to be the same thing that you like in your early 20s when you're finishing up your college degree. Like it just doesn't work like that most of the time. And so I would say most people don't end up in their childhood dream job, but they probably end up in a job that they're mostly satisfied with. So
yeah, I'm going to answer this in reverse. I'm going to answer how many people actually end up in that childhood dream job. I agree with you that it's probably a pretty small percentage, but I think one of the cool things, and Olathe School District taught me this, is like the 21st century programs. So I think it's a little bit different than when you and I were growing up, where we kind of had to figure it out as we went along, and we took a different class and we liked this class, and I think this might be what I want to do. So you kind of check it out a little bit. But like in these 21st century programs, and I know other high schools have similar things, like it's basically a major in college that you're doing in high school. And I think that's a really cool thing. I wish they had that when we were in high school, because I think that would have helped me like narrow down this is what I want to do, or
sure.
nah, this ain't it. I think that's a really cool thing. I applaud people who have the dedication to have a dream job when they're a kid and then stick with it all the way through and do it.
Yeah.
Personally, I could never do that.
I know.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So when I was little, my first real job that I wanted was like to be a vet. I wanted to be a veterinarian, until I learned that at the early stages of being a vet, you had to clean out the kennels, and you had to clean out the poop and the pee from the animal enclosures. I didn't want any of that, so quickly rerouted. I would always bounce between, like, professional tennis player. Everyone wanted to do that when they're a kid playing tennis. The one thing that I can really think of that I was like, I really want to do this, is a marine biologist. And if you know me, it makes sense, but there just wasn't options in the middle of Kansas to take marine biology school. And I wasn't going to travel. I wasn't going to go anywhere. So that was kind of like, well, I can't study the ocean in Emporia, Kansas. Like, that's just not a reality. So obviously now I'm getting a little bit older. I know the question that you asked, Alexis, was when I was little, but I don't think I really truly had a grasp on what I wanted to be, even in college. Believe it or not. I hate saying that. That's crazy. I went to college for education, I believe is what it was. And then I kind of transitioned into physical education. Then I kind of went into recreation is what it was called. My major was recreation, which, dude, I can't tell you how I dropped out of college when recreation was... I took recreation to heart. I embodied recreation, dude. They should have given me a master's degree right then and there for recreation, because that's all I was doing. That's all I was doing.
You were in college recreationally.
Is that not the point of a recreation major? I guess I was wrong. Basically, what that was, though, was like camp counselors, or like cruise ship stuff would be considered recreation. Anything in hospitality, which, funny that I'm a restaurant manager now, because that's hospitality. But that went away when I dropped out the first time, and then I went back for education again, thinking, because I was working at south and thinking that's what I wanted to do. And then that kind of turned into sports psychology. And that's something that like I wish I knew more of when I was a kid, because I think I would have latched onto that right away and really like put more effort into it earlier on instead of a little bit later in life. But yeah, to answer the question in a short way, a vet? Nah, not trying to clean up poop. A marine biologist, can't study ocean animals in the middle of Kansas, and then just kind of wherever life took me.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. This one, Andrew, I'm curious because I want to know the answer to this question. I have always wondered, and I think I've asked you, and I'm not sure I've ever gotten a clear answer.
Unserious questions coming up here.
So, for those of you who don't know, Andrew is whether it's self-appointed or appointed from somebody else, I don't know. I'll let him tell. This is Andrew. This right here is a belt that says Crowned Champion of the Universe. I'm not making this up.
Nope. That's what it says.
How did you become the Crowned Champion of the Universe?
Well, somebody was asking me this the other day, and I think they said, "Did you just make yourself the Crowned Champion of the Universe?" I have it on my classroom door. It's like that's just kind of, and people come in and they say, "You're the Crowned Champion of the Universe." It's the first time I'm seeing that. Like, it's been there for years, dude. And the question was, "Did you just make yourself the Crowned Champion of the Universe?" And I said, "Well, if I did, there was nobody there to stop me. So here I am.
You make a really good point.
Crowned Champion of the Universe."
So it was a little bit self-appointed.
I don't know about self-appointed. I achieved it. I achieved it, and nobody stopped me. So,
did anybody know you were doing it?
I
feel like this was kind of something that happened in the darkness, and then it was brought to light, and everyone's like, "Well, can't do anything about it now."
Hey.
But if they would have known, then Cram could have been like, "No, I'm the Crowned Champion of the Universe," and then you guys could have had like some sort of competition to determine this. But there was no competition. It was just like I can go out and buy a crown and put it on my head and say I'm the king of Shawnee, and nobody can fight me about it because
you, like back in the olden days, you staked your claim on the land. I own this land. Somebody come take it from me, and if nobody's going to take it from you, then it's yours. The land is yours. The universe. Nobody has challenged me.
By land, you mean the universe?
Yeah.
The whole
I've
thing.
staked my claim.
Okay. That's fair.
Follow-up question. I hope that I answered that, satisfactorily.
I'm not sure there's a proper way to answer that question, but
hey,
good job.
There doesn't need to be. Follow-up question, Austin. How does it feel to live in the shadow of the Crowned Champion of the Universe?
I just want to make myself clear here. It is an absolute pleasure to live in the shadow of the Crowned Champion of the Universe. What a joy! I am the younger brother. I am the younger brother of the Crowned Champion of the Universe. How could I trip off of that? Like, is there anybody else in the world who can say that? Absolutely not. This was truly a title that was given to me by your decision to name yourself Crowned Champion of this. Like, if anything, I think I might have it better than you because nobody's fighting me for brother of Crowned Champion of the Universe.
Yeah,
that's just it is what it is. So I wake up every day, and the first thing I smile before I get out of bed because the only thing on my mind as soon as I wake up is, dang, feels good to be the brother of the Crowned Champion of the Universe. And then I get out of bed and I just have the best day every day, all day, because of this.
That makes my heart so happy that I could do that for you. And
I,
like
I,
I I'm just so proud of not only myself but of you for having that perspective and that mindset of, what a blessed life you have. You're welcome.
somebody has it worse than me. I don't know
Most
who
people.
it is, but that's the mindset. Somebody's got it worse than me. So what am I complaining about? Now, I could have taken this a really serious, dark kind of route about growing up in your shadow and being, having these high expectations, but I didn't because I feel like that doesn't need to be discussed right now.
No,
We're
no.
we're not angsty about it. We're not upset. We're happy. Enough said. Okay.
That's
All right.
good.
We're gonna take a break from these silly-ish questions for a second and kind of get back into um, the good stuff, the helpful stuff, the necessary stuff. Um, I really liked this question when I first read it I think it was on Facebook. How do you handle sibling rivalry and encourage them to support each other in their respective activities?
Yeah. Um, I don't I don't have a lot of experience necessarily as a coach with sibling rivalries. There's a couple families that I've had siblings of that I've coached, but never really on the same team at the same time. Whether it's brother and sister in high school at the same time, or if it's, same gender, just, several years after and not necessarily competing against each other. Um, the biggest thing that I have to go off of for this question is me and you when we were kids, um, and that sibling rivalry. And I don't even know if you could really call our relationship when we were younger a rivalry. Um, I think that we both wanted to beat each other, no matter what we were doing, whether it was tennis or cross country or basketball or playing chess or checkers. So like we wanted to win. That's
Yeah,
we're competitors. We wanted to beat each
anything.
other, and we were mad when we lost. But I think partially, I think that's just siblings. Like my kids do that right now. They don't like to lose to each other.
Yeah.
Um, I think the most important piece of a sibling rivalry, if you want to call it that, is still truly wanting the best for them in whatever they're doing, whether it's sports or otherwise, whether it's the same sport as you or a different sport. Like if you truly love your sibling, you want them to succeed and achieve as much as they possibly can, and you should support them, whether that's going to games or being a practice partner or pushing them outside of comfort zones or whatever it might be, um, to help them achieve as much success as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of um, what you tell our higher level tennis players of, when you're playing somebody who's good, like you're making them better as well, right? Like when you're competing against your sibling, having that intention is important of not only like I'm going to learn some things here and I might be pissed off that you beat me or whatever, but like I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to get better. And I'm hoping you do the same thing at some point in this competition, that you learn from whatever I give you and you get better. Um, I think it's a little more difficult when you're in different sports
Yeah.
and one might play basketball and the other one plays baseball or something. And they've got the, normal sibling jawing back and forth crap, but like, how do you support that? How do you support your sibling without, you know, being mean and rude or whatever the case is? Um, I think it's getting in touch with like your relationship with them and
Mm-hmm.
being I know that there's some siblings out there who don't have good relationships, but I think that's one thing that you and I like. Not because we played doubles, but like I think we naturally had a good relationship with each other. That I had no real animosity towards you at any point, and I hope you didn't towards me either. And so we got along really well on the court. Now, if we would have hated each other, it's probably a different story. But I
Right.
would hope that we would at some point come together and say like, yeah, I want you to do good. I want you to be the best you can, but I want you to want that for me as well. So like,
Yeah.
what can we do? How can we hash this out to figure it out?
Yeah.
But I think
And
this is a great time to let the world know that in our first tennis match that I played against Andrew in a competitive situation, a tournament, I beat him. I won. We have never played competitively since then, so I'm
That's
1-0.
true. That's not true. That is so not true.
I don't remember.
We played so many USTA tournament matches against each other.
Well, I won the first one. So even if you're right, I won the first one. So I was 1-0. And I'm not done. As the wrestler of the family, I beat Andrew in a little wrestling match when I was young enough to not even remember it.
Okay. Yeah, because you're too fat. You sat on me
'Cause I
and
was-
couldn't get up. Like I couldn't
Dude,
get up. That doesn't
There's
count. That's not
there's no weight classes when you're a baby. You're
No.
a baby.
doesn't even count. That's not. No.
You couldn't move.
I would smoke you right now.
What about 29 years ago? Couldn't have smoked me then.
That's the.
You
past.
had
You're
your
living in
chance,
the
buddy. You had
Fitz,
your
Fitz,
chance.
roll off the mat. Let's go. I would.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
No, Coach Fitz, you can keep those mats rolled up, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hit you
exactly.
with the
You don't want the cradle.
with the
You don't want
whizzer.
the cradle.
I'm putting. That's all you know. You don't know about the whizzer. You don't know about the high crotch, the double leg. Fitz is probably like, dang, he was paying attention. Like
What are you doing?
I didn't think that dude knew what he was talking about with wrestling. You just spladle, dude.
No. He
I'll
just
mess
knows
you up
the-
with the spladle all day.
He just knows the terms, coach. He doesn't know anything about doing it.
You're right. Damn, you just called me out. Okay. You were going to say something before I had to give statistics about our lives. I don't know if you remember it or not, but
I don't even remember what it was.
okay, good. Took your mind off of it. For athletes, what is your advice to them on dealing with heckling crowds, especially when they're saying things or doing things that are personal?
Yeah. For this question, I don't have a whole lot of personal experience. My main competing experience has been tennis, and tennis is notoriously a gentleman's sport. At the college level, it gets a little bit crazier, but that's mostly with the opponents and just kind of being a little bit more of a loud environment, not so much hecklers, from a crowd. So this is all, advice, but no necessarily, experience to base it off of. I would say that some of the things that we've talked about in previous episodes of, having your focus be on the point or the game that's happening, the moment that's happening on the court, on the field, and being able to shut off everything else around you. We talk about it a little bit with tennis, being able to block out what's happening on other courts or outside of the fence if there's, a rowdy crowd and people are cheering when they shouldn't be cheering and things like that. The personal aspect of it gets a little bit tricky. But you got to be able to put all of that kind of off to the side and ball, and now kind of talking it through and thinking about it, they're probably saying things to you whether it's personal or whatever, because they know that you have the ability to change the outcome of the game, and they want to try and make you not be able to do that. They want to make you think about something else besides what's happening in the game. And so your best opportunity to stick it to them and say shut up, or prove them wrong, is to shut them up, shut them out of your head, and go execute and change the game. So
Yeah. I I had an athlete that I'm working with. It's not so much about crowds. It's more of just outside noises, friends, whatever it may be, who kind of had the same thing. Like they're talking, they're saying personal things that, might not be very nice, whatever. How do you deal with it? First off, you can't control what people say and what people do.
right,
You can't. And we've talked about controlling the controllables before. You're almost wasting energy if you give them the time of day of responding to them or thinking too much about it and what you can do to stop it, because you really can't do anything, right? You just can't. The other thing is, I'm a positive thinker, me personally, and so I try to twist negative situations as much as I can into positive situations. And so that my athlete came to me and was talking about this thing, and I said, it's really difficult for me to turn something so negative into something positive. But I said, how cool is it that you're in a position where they expect so much out of you that they talk about it, and they talk about it publicly because they expect you to do something, right? Like,
right,
it's expected that you win, or it's expected that you're going to hit this 3-pointer, or it's expected you're going to throw a couple touchdown passes. Like, how cool is that? I like thinking of it now in my older self. I would have loved to think that way in high school, where it's like, dude, keep talking all you want. Keep trying to get in my head, because that that's the only way that you can get under my skin. The only way that you can beat me is to pull out all the stops.
right,
But I'm going to be mentally sound, and I'm going to focus on the things I can control and kind of block out naturally through processes what you're saying and what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think of another thing of like shooting a free throw, and you're on the opposing team's side, and the student section's doing whatever they can possibly do to get you to miss that. You're literally, when you're shooting that free throw, you are looking at them.
right.
And you've got to be able to lock in and focus on it. So, like, how do you do that? It's something you have to practice almost.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I think for
you
like
don't-
high
you
school
don't do
students
good
and younger
without
students,
having that experience. Like you
yeah,
gotta go through
yeah,
it. You gotta go through the experience of having.
not so much practice in the sense of like your normal everyday weekday practice that you go to after school, but practice in the sense that you got to live it, and you got to go through the situations and figure out, like, in the moment, what works for me and what do I need to do to get through this.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think that's a tough question to answer because it varies for everybody. It varies for everybody. But yeah, I go back to the controlling the things you can control and paying no mind to the things you can't, because it's not worth your energy and it's not worth your time.
Okay, next question. Austin, what's your? You probably have some experience with giving this advice to athletes as you work with them. What are some things, some pieces of advice for calm down techniques or like reset techniques for frustration or intense moments during competition?
I think this varies from person to person. What works for one person might not work for another. But some techniques and suggestions that I have: breathing, very, very important. A lot of times when we get stressed, psychologically, we hold our breath or we stop breathing. Sometimes we breathe faster. It can kind of go either way, but just slowing your breathing down, breathing in a very relaxed, calm kind of manner will naturally, physiologically calm your body down, lower your heart rate, do whatever it needs to get done to bring yourself back down to earth, so to speak. And the other major thing is keywords. Nikki talked about this last time,
Yep.
last week, but having a word or a phrase, something short, something that means something to you, that when you recognize, hey, I'm a little pissed off or things aren't going my way, you have these words to kind of bring you back down or focus you in on something else
Yep.
that will take your mind off of what's going on in that moment. Those are my two big things.
Yeah. No, the breathing is huge. Like you said, lowers your heart rate physically and helps you think more clearly. I think we talked, I think it was in Drew's episode, of having some ways to relieve some of the pressure, and like the resets, stop and tie your shoes, go
Physical
back and
things.
go back and touch the fence, fix your strings. I'm sure every sport has something, and those are kind of tennis specific, but you find a way to have a physical reset, to slow your mind down, stop your brain, and just kind of get back to the task at hand. And again, it's practice with those things. It's experience being in those frustration types of situations, and then having the wherewithal and the awareness to say, okay, now I need to stop. I'm going to try this and see if it works. And if it does, awesome. Continue to do that and experiment with that particular method. And if it doesn't work, then on to the next one and the next frustrating situation. So.
It's very trial and error of
Yeah.
this works, this doesn't, this kind of works, but like you said, trying things and figuring out what's best for you in any given situation.
Yeah.
I'm curious, who's the best tennis player that you've ever played against? Any level, who is it?
Yeah. I'm going to make you wait on the one final answer. I feel like I've played against a lot of really good tennis players in my time. Back in like high school, we're traveling. There was a tournament down in Tulsa, I believe, somewhere in Tulsa or somewhere in Oklahoma. It was either Tulsa or Oklahoma City. I can't remember the guy's name, but I played a doubles match against him, and he, I think, went on to play D1 singles, like at a Power 5 conference. I think he played Big 12. Division 1 tennis. I can't remember his name though, but he's on the list. There were a couple of players in college that were individually nationally ranked that I played against, especially probably like my freshman year in college when I was playing number 1 singles, and we were playing against guys from Northwest Missouri State and SBU that were like the best players in their country, and then they came to America to play college tennis, and ended up kicking some punk from Topeka's butt from Emporia State. Like, we played against a couple of Division 1 exhibition schools, and so those players are all really good. But I think that the number one, and maybe not the best tennis player that I played against in terms of their level in the match that I played against them, but where they have gotten to and where they will continue to go and get better is Cooper Wostendick from he's from Olathe. We played against him in Topeka. He plays currently as I believe he's a sophomore or maybe second semester freshman at TCU, playing in the Big 12. And he's playing fairly high in their lineup, I believe. He won the Junior Indian Wells. If you know anything about tennis tournaments, that's one of the biggest tennis tournaments in the world, and he won the junior division. He's played in majors, the junior major division.
Kalamazoo. He's won Kalamazoo a couple times.
Yeah. Easter Bowl type of guy. Like, probably the number one best tennis player that I've played against. And you mentioned a few weeks ago that we were professional tennis players, and we got our money after that match.
Shout out Cooper for giving us $20.
Thanks, Cooper.
More or less. I think, if I remember right, we took proverbial bets on how many games we could win in that match.
And we took the over, I think.
We took the over. The over hit.
The over hit, yeah.
I don't remember what the score was. It was like, what? I want
like
to say like
2-1,
and I think we had the over. I think it was 3-1 because I remember being like, 4 games, hell yeah, let's go. I think the over was set at like 2.5 or 3.
Yeah.
And it was like, as soon as we got that 4th game, as soon as the over hit, I don't care what happens, dude. I proved to myself that I can do this. I would agree with you. I think that's very high up, like probably top, just considering the career that he's probably going to have. Not that Cooper listens to this podcast, but that was not. He's a good person too, and I think that's what made it fun.
He was a good kid.
And his partner too, Russell Loco, is a very good player. Played at Louisville. Has a younger brother who's really good. Like, I think we've had the privilege of playing with some really good tennis players in our years. Some not so nice people, some really nice people. I think when we were growing up, like I don't know about you, I personally admired the Hunter brothers for how good of tennis players they were, and that was always like I wanted to beat. It was Tommy at the time. I wanted to beat Tommy. I really wanted to beat Tommy. I never beat Tommy, but that was always the goal. And then, when it got to be high school time, it was other people from different schools that we had goals to beat. But in terms of best tennis player, just skill wise, as a whole, it's definitely Cooper. Definitely Cooper, for sure.
Another tennis related question here: who do you model your tennis game after physically, and who do you model your game after mentally?
Who is the oldest tennis player on tour? Who moves their feet the least on the professional tour? I really like to think, and this, if you watch me play, you're going to disagree with this 100%. I love to think that I play like Gael Monfils. I'm so serious. I don't know why you're laughing, dude.
That's why I'm laughing so hard, is because I know you're serious about this.
It's like, if I get a chance to do some crazy cool little jumping overhead thing, I'm going to take that opportunity. It's not going to look good, but it's going to, the opportunity is going to be seized. I'm going to take that opportunity. A tweener, you best believe I'm trying to hit that thing. Behind the back, I like the trick shots. I like the fun, quirky side of things. That's who I like to think. In reality, I probably play more mentally. I probably play more like Nick Kyrgios. Some of the old heads might. John McEnroe. Just kind of in between Nick Kyrgios and John McEnroe. But I remember in high school, Nadal was that dude. Nadal was the guy that I did everything. I think I had his shoes, those bright lime green ones. The Babolat racket, everything. If I could have worn the headband, I would have worn the headband. That's who I think I wanted to model my game after. And in all seriousness, mentally, I think Andre Agassi. I think in the sense, I don't know if you've read his book Open. That's a really good sports psychology book to read, just to understand what they go through. But he went through a bunch of up and downs, a lot of challenges, and just not even my tennis game, just my life in general. Just fighting through adversity and coming through when things are difficult. I think he was kind of the embodiment of that at times, and I think that's kind of how I like to live my life.
Yeah.
What about you?
Couple of players about the physical side of it. My first big idol growing up watching tennis was Pete Sampras, and I loved the way that he served and volleyed, and got to the net and finished points really quickly. And, I didn't understand like the nuances of it when I was younger, but I tried to do the things that he was doing. And like, I play singles very much that style of get to the net because that's what I'm good at, hitting volleys and playing the short court. And so like that and then after Sampras was gone, it was Roger Federer was my idol. Just the smoothness and the fluidity of the way he moved and the way he swung his racket, and his serve was just so beautiful. Like that was who I wanted to make my strokes look like. I had a two-hand backhand, not a one-hand backhand like Fed, but like just
Thank goodness.
The beauty, the smoothness of the way that he moved and hit is what I wanted to try and be like. I probably was nowhere close, but that's what I wanted to get to. Mentally, you mentioned Nadal, and like he's always known for his mental fortitude and his the mindset that he approaches everything with. And younger me didn't like Nadal because he was Federer's main guy, that he would, the guy that beat Federer most often when Federer lost was Nadal. So I didn't like him. But now that I'm older and more mature and have an appreciation for what Nadal has done, like I wish that I could be as mentally strong and as mentally tough as Rafa Nadal was.
Yeah. Good comparisons. I think together, you and me on a doubles court, the Bryan brothers. And I'm serious about that. Just kind of the tenacity 100%. And the communication and the bond and the get to the net and be aggressive and all those things.
The play style, not just the being brothers, but the play style of balls to the wall. We're gonna get to the net. I'm sticking volleys and you're gonna have to either go over us, which is baby doubles, or you're gonna have to go through us, and you can't go through us. So
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna end on. My wife wants to know if Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. I've got my answer. I don't know your answer, but I want to hear it. Give it to me.
Now, I'm going to preface my answer with I've only seen this movie once, and it was last Christmas-ish. And
so it's
Kylie had not seen it either, and neither of us had seen the movie, and we were like, let's find out if this is a Christmas movie. Everybody said, like, let's watch it and see what the answer is. I think yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie because Christmas is essential to the plot of the movie. They're in whatever building. Is it a business?
The Nakatomi Plaza Sky Tower.
Yeah. Whatever that build, they're having whatever, like the Christmas party or whatever, right? And he's flying back home or driving back home for the Christmas holiday or whatever. Like without the Christmas movie or without the Christmas holiday, that movie doesn't happen in the way that it happens. Like the plot is different if it's not Christmas. The movie doesn't happen the same way. So my answer is yes.
That is also exactly my answer.
Hey.
The exact reason too. And I will die on this hill. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times, but I looked it up. IMDb, the movie website. This is the synopsis. Listen. A New York City cop, John McClane, tries to save his estranged international movie database.
There you go. Good. Sorry, I interrupted.
Let's
go ahead.
It's okay. You put my knowledge to the test. I'm glad I knew that. A New York City cop, John McClane, tries to save his estranged wife and several others taken hostage by terrorists during a Christmas Eve party at the Nakatomi Plaza skyscraper in Los Angeles, California. It's
Exactly.
in the description. It's in the description.
Yeah, and if it's not Christmas Eve, if it's not Christmas, then that party's not happening, and the terrorists are not either they're having an easy takeover or they're not taking over the building.
Now, it's not a Christmas themed movie necessarily like you would think, like Elf or Home Alone or, whatever.
Sure.
But it's a Christmas movie.
Yes.
It's something that takes place during Christmas, which makes it a Christmas
movie. The plot of the movie happens because of Christmas.
Yes. Die Hard 2 is not a Christmas movie because the same reason. It doesn't incorporate Christmas is not vital to the plot.
Haven't seen it. But I believe you.
Me either. But I looked up the description. It doesn't say anything about Christmas. So therefore, it's not a Christmas movie. Okay. That's what I got. We're pushing time. It's late. I got work in the morning. I think I did want to ask you one more question. I want you to give me this as quick as you possibly can. We can dive into it later. Who in your life, your whole entire life, has been the most influential person in where you're at now? It's not on our list. This is off the dome.
No, you can't drop a question like this.
I was sitting on the couch. I was thinking, I gotta ask Andrew something good, but I don't know what I can ask him. And then it was like, I just want to know who, because you've got a lot of people in your life that has really pushed you and given you a lot of good advice, good connections, good whatever. And I'm curious if you had to name one person, and I'm serious, you can only name one person who has like just been the dude, the woman, the person that just kind of put you in the position you're in today.
Probably Dad. Like,
good answer.
They say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and like that's very true. I'm a science teacher, tennis coach, high school, but without I wouldn't be not only where I am but who I am without him. Or if he was a different kind of dad or a different person, like my life and my personality, I would be different without him. So what about you?
Absolutely.
What about you? Same question.
I want to say Dad as well, but I mean I feel like that's kind of the easy way out here, not diminishing the influence that Dad has had in my life by any means, but I think if and that sounds so cheesy, and I it is what it is, but I think it's my wife. I think it's Alexis, 100%. Like, I mean, considering
Kylie was my the person I was trying to decide between.
We've had a lot of people, right? And a lot of people have made a very huge difference in our lives, but I just kind of think of where I was when we first met and the trajectory that my life was going down of just not really having a clue of what was going on and what I was doing to, graduating college and going into a master's program and starting my own business and doing all these things because I have support right next to me every single day. And I think that's one thing that really pushed me to be the best version of myself and be where I'm at today. So shout out Alexis and shout out Dad and shout out everybody else. Mom, all the other people that played a role in our lives. So, Kylie, the whole gang. Yeah. It's a lot of people. We could talk about this for days. Just different people. But we got to wrap it up here. So I'm going to give the plug of Set Point Mental Edge on social media. I've got a business page on Google now. If you feel so inclined to leave a review, I will try to somehow drop a link to drop a review on Google. All social media updated websites. I'm offering 25% off for Olathe South students, current and former, as well as Topeka West students, current and former, just to kind of show my appreciation and love for the two schools that kind of helped me get to where I'm at. That I got nothing else. I love these episodes. I love doing these things. And we'll be back. I'm not going to make this mistake again. Next week's Christmas. So I think we're just going to kind of enjoy our lives with our families for Christmas. And we'll be back. And then after that, it's New Year's. So shoot, we'll figure it out, but we'll have another episode coming.
Yeah. A couple weeks probably.
We also have our guest for January already figured out.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That might be the best episode yet.
You might be right. You might be right on that one.
We're going to have to market the heck out of this. We might have to go live so everybody can just jump in the chat and be live with us.
Maybe.
That's all I got. You got anything, Andrew? You got anything to say to the people?
No. Good night, y'all.
Thank you
good
for
morning,
the support.
or good afternoon.
We love you all.
Yeah.
Whatever
have
it is.
Have a great day. Make your day the best day.
You might not be the crown champion of the universe, but you can act like you're the crown champion of the universe.
Hey, make it happen for
yourself. We'll see you next time on Set Point Sessions.
Peace.
Make it happen for yourself, and it'll happen for everybody else. Goodbye.
Love y'all.